Hey, I'm Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I help people just like you get to the next level. Those relentlessly dedicated to personal development, becoming a better person. So, have you ever felt like you're so stuck? You don't know exactly perfectly what to sink your teeth in to gain that traction, that next level, that clarity, that aha-ness. Have you ever been there? More than likely you have, because you're watching this video, and let's face it, I'm just in my car. I'm not in my typical background here, and wanted to get on here and talk about my current position a little bit and how it may relate to you. And first off, you're not alone if that's what you're currently at. You know? All right, so I want to talk about gaining clarity, but also not only necessarily what to do, but definitely what to avoid or not to do. There's something called the false lift. Let's start with that. And that's going to be what we say is what not to do. Now, first off, let me tell you my situation about my knowledge in what a false lift is. Let's just say my current situation, how I feel currently. I don't necessarily know how to get to the next level 100%. Part of it is making more YouTube videos to increase my impact. That's part of the solution. So in essence, I am gaining some traction in the right direction. That isn't the only thing I need to do, right? I also need to sell more product with my company, sell more supplements. That's also something I need to do. So let's just say I have an idea of where to go, where to continue going, and I've done these things before, and they have helped. They definitely help for sure. Okay? So let's just say you generally know an idea of what to do, how to become better, etc. And then on the other side of knowing what to do and even doing some of those actions, there's maybe not doing enough or not knowing when we will get to a level that is necessarily the level that we need in our life to truly feel like, yeah, we've reached a aha moment, a definite level of breakthrough. A freaking breakthrough. Let's just say in the body aspect, a breakthrough may be, for me, for example, I can do 225 pounds on a bench press 10 times. It's kind of a breakthrough. There was a time where hitting 225 on a bench press would have been, for one, that would have been awesome. But I'm at a stage where I could do 10, and that's fine. That's just okay. That's a breakthrough. In the spiritual world, the breakthrough may be, so let's say look at being, that may be to have so much faith that if you don't have the breakthrough you need right now, you have so much faith that you can still carry on. You can still push through the desert or the lack of clarity, even though you can push through that. Let's say that's a breakthrough in spirituality, or hearing the voice of God all the time, whenever you want, or being always in connection to God. Say that's a breakthrough in spirituality, or samadhi, right? That's a breakthrough. That's a huge breakthrough. Being always in God consciousness. Damn, that's a breakthrough of all breakthroughs, right? The elusive breakthrough. In relationships of like romance, family, let's say in romance, a breakthrough would be really finding someone that you love to spend the rest of your life with. Wow, what a breakthrough. And you're not just saying it, you have that person. That's a huge breakthrough. You have kids and you love them and you're proud of the way you're raising them. Wow, that is a huge breakthrough. Business, let's just say you have a large reach in your audience, you have a huge impact, you're globally known, your products sell all the time within a consistent upward swing in profits and impact and stories and testimonials, that's a huge breakthrough. Now, let's just say you need that breakthrough. You know you need it faster than you definitely need the breakthrough. Look, I'm impatient. Like I told you in my video before this, when I was headed to the gym, I told you my story about how it's been 6 years and I've had some pretty freaking cool breakthroughs in spirituality, in business, in my body. And the biggest breakthrough, ironically, has been the relationship with myself. It hasn't been one in romance, but I have a pretty good relationship with myself. So now we know what a breakthrough is. We know that we have to work on those areas, meaning I have to work out. I have to have a good relationship with myself, to have a good relationship with someone else. Have to, you get the idea, meditate, to get a connection with God. So we know what we have to do. But let's just say those things aren't happening as fast as you need to, and you feel stuck. Then that's where you may have a trigger occur, a frustration, an anger, rage, depression, feeling like quitting. You're triggered maybe because you don't know what to do, and then this can lead to a downward spiral of sorts. Or if you confront the challenge well enough, it could lead to the next level. So I merely want to take a moment there. Let's just say that you're stuck. The breakthrough you want. You are doing things to get there. But maybe you're triggered. Maybe you're angry. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe you feel like you want to quit. I could tell you I feel all those things. Today, actually, I felt them all. I don't always feel them all, but today I felt them all. Just tough. Stuff got tough. Stuff got really tough. And I want to get on here and show you that realness, because usually I get to get on front of the camera after the fact. This is like me facing a challenge right in front of you, and having direction, having wisdom, all those things. So what is the opposite of sticking through it? What is the opposite of sticking through it? The opposite of sticking to the plan, the opposite of all of that is to go for a quitting, or let the trigger take you to a false lift. Now, so let's just say this. Let's just say the trigger can drag you into the pit emotionally, and then once you're in that pit, you can get out of there with a false lift, or you can actually do the work and focus, double down on what works, and get to a real lift. So a false lift, we're going to be discussing false lifts. Okay? So now you know the key ideas. You're continuing, you're moving on, things are going good for you. You get to a big challenge, you don't know how to get out, you're going to get pulled into a temptation, a downward slope. It'll happen eventually. You're angered for whatever reason. You're drawn into emotional pits and emotional darkness, right? And as one of my mentors, Garrett White, talks about, he goes, the light is in the night. So at that moment there, you can say, now that you're in the darkness, in the pit, in the belly of the beast, you have an option. You have an option to go into a false lift, or you can work on a real lift. The real lift takes work, because the false lift, let me give you some ways people false lift. Watch pornography. They fap, to feel better, to feel a rise in their dopamine levels, right? They go for a drink, right? right? Anything to cut loose, to feel better, to feel happy. They may call up a ex or someone that's not necessarily a good match for them, but there's trauma bonding occurring, and then they feel better for a time. And usually we know when we're in these situations because there's a sense of like disgust almost with ourselves, that we're succumbing to these escapes, these less than ideal levels of ourself. That is the false lift in action. That is the perfect picture of the false lift in action. Okay? And so if you don't go into a false lift, you can only eventually lift, because now you're not given into the temptation, the standard way of escaping, avoiding, and getting a better ego boost, and actually decided to do the work and really formulate a better strategy that can help you truly get to the next level. You know, as I talked about at the beginning of my video, my name is Jacob. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I help people get, just like you, get to the next level. So getting to that next level often is going to require you to feel the most unwanted feelings, because, you know, you used to escape these weird, like they're almost like pressure points. Like they are the pinnacle of the excuse, the pinnacle of the number one reason why you would typically give yourself the out to escape with drugs, or, you know, maybe smoke a little herb, you know, go to a strip club. I was invited to a strip club actually yesterday, and I didn't go. And I thought about playing poker even, and I didn't go. And I mainly didn't go because I was like, those are all just false lifts, you know. And so a person can be tempted into the false lift. Now, if they stick to their guns and think of the way out of the pit step by step and do the work, then they've acquired a new level of inner strength, a new level of themselves. And that expansion of self, that's character development. That's the real deal. That's what Michael Jordan's trainer talks about, Tim Grover, about harnessing the dark side. That is the realm of the real frickin' players of this life, because not everybody wants to feel those feelings, dude. Not everybody can handle them. They're intense, you know, anger, frustration, disappointment in self. And it's like sometimes they're the lies of the devil, you know. So what I found, like I look back to my accidents, you know, I had a choice to give up, to just throw in the towel. Instead I got a car. The car I'm in now, this car I'm in now has cost me more money every month, driving me into debt I couldn't necessarily take on, debt that's really put me back because I was already living a little bit too close to my means. So it's made me have to really step up my game, right? I could have, you know, you get tempted to get so angry because it wasn't even my fault. But I carried on. And so I can tell you, that's what I found, is that in life, when you get the biggest challenges, the biggest reasons to quit, the biggest, most intense challenges, it doesn't mean you're gonna not feel like shit sometimes, or you're not gonna feel the rage, or you're not gonna feel all that. But it means that if you can use those emotions, the darkness in you, the rage, the anger, the frustration, if you can use it to focus and do good, then that's headed in the right direction. That's the real lift. That's what I've seen. And I think that we as a society prior, let's say the 80s, the 90s, all this stuff, you know, those times in life were more looked at in the past like it was okay to drink, or, you know, we always celebrated drinking as a society, as a way of escaping, as a way to dealing and coping. But you can't, like, you don't want to cope with a false lift, because the false lift is always just going to let you back to square one, and you didn't grow any. You didn't really achieve a true mastery of your inner self. It was all just like an illusion of feeling better. You're not really feeling better. And that's the biggest thing that the false lift and the real lift, that's the difference between the two. The real lift, you're going to feel pride and dignity and a sense of resilience and self-respect. And the false lift is going to make you feel disgusted with self. That's what I've seen. And we've in the past celebrated more the false lifts of our society, you know? And we're seeing now that until we're ready to face it and become better people at our core, there's never really going to be the growth that we truly crave at our depth. So take a moment, and if you're feeling frustrated, see what your best strategy is, and take a moment to see what the lift is. Honestly, my false lifts are almost, I've expired them so much. I'm so over them. Like fapping, pornography, or drinking, or calling an ex to escape, like all those things. Those were my main ones, you know. They were pretty easy, relatively understandable escapes, or societally understandable escapes, or false lifts, you could say. But honestly, they don't feel good. So I know my false lifts. My real lift is making content. It's reaching out to a global audience. It's making an impact with my supplements and helping people dial into better versions of themselves. It's leadership coaching like this. It's connecting with the Lord and living a life of peace and purpose and love and strength and vision. That's my real lift, and that's what I'm doing. And when your false lifts no longer seem that appetizing or that cool, that's a good place to be, because you can now feel the pain and the hurt that you didn't used to want to feel, and you can there's a party that can enjoy it, you know. And if you can start enjoying that hard to like part, that really hard to like part, if you can start enjoying it on some level, I think that makes you a force to be reckoned with on some level. It's kind of like the stuff of movies. So there's my 2 cents on that. Write down what you got to do that you know is good, and write down the stuff that you typically escape with, and avoid those, get away from those. Naturally, somebody could watch this and think, that's dumb. You know, that's a pretty stupid position, or there's no such thing as a false lift. Everything's okay. Everything's gravy, baby. I think that's the standard reaction to this information. But if you don't want to be standard, seriously take a moment to consider what I talked about, because this isn't about being standard or average. This is about finding your truest purpose, finding your truest place in this earth. That's what this is about. Okay? I'd love to hear your thoughts, maybe what you escape with, some of your false lifts, some of your challenges with this, some of your successes in facing your adversities. This is Jacob Adams signing off. We'll see you next time. If you know of somebody that wants to hear this video, share with them, etc.